Thermodynamic principles of metallurgy. You know, according to thermodynamics, a chemical reaction is said to be spontaneous only when the Gibbs free energy is negative. Gibbs free energy delta G is measured using the different parameters enthalpy change and entropy change, and it is given by the equation delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. This is known as Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. We'll come to the conditions of Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. When will it become spontaneous? Suppose delta H is negative and T delta S is positive. We say that at that condition it will delta G becomes negative. Second condition, when delta H is negative and T delta S is negative, here the condition should be delta H is more negative than T delta S. Next condition, suppose delta H is positive and T delta S is positive. Here you find that delta H must be less than T delta S. Such a condition, you find delta G becomes negative. Hope it is clear. In addition to that, delta G is also given by the equation negative RT ln K, where R is the universal gas constant, T is the temperature, and ln K represents natural logarithm of K. K represents the equilibrium constant, that is concentration of products divided by concentration of reactants. Here we are considering the chemical reaction to be at equilibrium. So these are the two conditions for thermodynamic principles of metallurgy. So whenever a chemical reaction is spontaneous, delta G should be negative, and this is found out with the help of what is called Ellingham's diagram. Now it is a plot between Gibbs free energy change against temperature. Now that you have understood the thermodynamic principles of metallurgy, we'll come to how to identify whether a thermal reduction is possible. This is predicted using what is called Ellingham's diagram. Ellingham's diagram predicts the feasibility of thermal reduction of the ore. Okay, now what is this Ellingham's diagram? This Ellingham's diagram is a plot of delta G0 formation against temperature. That means each and every element is reacting with oxygen to form the corresponding oxides. On checking the values, you find that as the reaction proceeds, the amount of oxygen gets used up. That means the gas state is converted to a solid oxide, and you find that delta S value becomes negative. When delta S value becomes negative, you find that T delta S value becomes more negative. And on substituting the value in Gibbs-Helmholtz equation, you find that delta S is negative and T delta S is more negative. That means negative and negative, it becomes positive. So the value totally becomes less negative. With the result, you find that the Gibbs free energy becomes less negative as the reaction proceeds. This is the reason why the slope of the Ellingham's diagram becomes positive in most cases. The following observations can be made from the Ellingham's graph. First one, The slope of the curves of the formation of the metal oxide is always positive. Second one, as long as the reaction is happening in the same phase, there is no change in the slope of the curve. Each curve is a straight line except when change occurs in phase. That means if the substance is changing from its solid state to the liquid state or gas state, there is a break in the curve, and that is identified from the graph. Next one. In case of less reactive metals like silver and mercury, delta G0 value becomes positive at high temperature. So just note the graph, you find that the delta G0 values of formation of mercuric oxide and silver oxide is found to be positive at high temperature. Now, how to identify whether an element will act as a reducing agent for a particular reaction? According to Ellingham's diagram, we are able to predict whether a reaction is possible or not. Suppose you are given a question. Check whether Al2O3 can be reduced by magnesium to form magnesium oxide and Al. We want to check the condition at which magnesium is able to reduce aluminum oxide into aluminum. According to the graph given for Ellingham's diagram, we find that the formation of the oxide, magnesium oxide, is the lower line compared to that of aluminum oxide. So according to Ellingham's, it is a must that the reaction of the element should be with 1 mole of oxygen. So then we have the equations like 2Mg plus O2 giving 2MgO, and aluminum oxide formation is written as 4 by 3 Al plus O2 giving 2 by 3 Al2O3. Hope it is clear. Now you find that compared to magnesium oxide formation, the aluminum oxide formation is having less value for Gibbs energy. Now you find that this graph is the lower line up to the point, intersection point A. At the point A, you find that there is no change in Gibbs free energy. So delta G0 formation at the point A will be 0. Now, when it is moving above, you find that as the reaction proceeds, the delta G0 formation becomes less negative. It is said that the element which is having more negative value is able to reduce the oxides which are remaining above it. So magnesium will be able to reduce aluminum oxide up to the temperature 1673 Kelvin. Above the temperature 1673 Kelvin, aluminum becomes the lower line. So aluminum is able to reduce magnesium oxide. You are given the question. The value of delta G0 formation of Cr2O3 is negative 540 kilojoules per mole, and that of aluminum oxide is negative 827 kilojoules per mole. Is the reaction of Cr2O3 possible with aluminum? We'll check the question and we will write it in the equation form. Formation of Cr2O3. What is the equation? Chromium combining with oxygen to form Cr2O3. What will be the value here? 2 times, this should be 4, and here it should be 3. So what will be the balanced equation according to Ellingham's diagram? This should be 4 by 3 Cr plus O2 giving 2 by 3 Cr2O3. The value is given in the equation as delta GF0 is equal to negative 540 kilojoules per mole. Hope it is clear. Now, second part of the equation. We want to check the formation of Al2O3. Al2O3, how is it formed? Aluminium, when it combines with oxygen, it will form Al2O3. So, balanced equation will be 4 by 3 Al plus O2 giving 2 by 3 Al2O3. So, delta G0 formation is given negative 827 kilojoules per mole. What should we find out from the question? You are supposed to find out whether Cr2O3 is reduced by aluminium. What will be the product form? Here you find that it should be converted to Al2O3 plus Cr. So the balanced equation will be this one. So this final equation you are supposed to derive from the equations which are given above. How to get these equations? That we'll check. So first, left side you should have Cr2O3. According to the first equation, you find Cr2O3 is on. How will you bring it to the left side? Reverse the equation. So what will happen? You get 2 by 3 Cr2O3 giving 4 by 3 Cr plus O2. Delta G0 value becomes positive 540 kilojoules per mole because the forward reaction was exothermic, backward reaction will be endothermic in nature. The second equation we require is aluminium on the left side. So you find that this equation can be retained 4 by 3 Al plus O2 giving 2 by 3 Al2O3, and delta G0 formation is equal to negative 827 kilojoules per mole. I hope it is clear. So this becomes your first equation and this is your second equation. Now how to get the final equation? You have to add A and B together. So what is the final equation? You have 2 by 3 Cr2O3 plus 4 by 3 Al giving 4 by 3 Cr plus 2 by 3 Al2O3. What will happen to the delta G0 of the reaction? It is delta G0 of the first one plus delta G0 of the second one. We get the answer as negative 287 kilojoules per mole. That is the reaction Cr2O3 plus 2Al giving Al2O3 plus 2Cr is thermodynamically possible. Assignment. First question. Out of carbon and carbon monoxide, which is the better reducing agent at 673 Kelvin? The graph is given like this. Second question. At room temperature, Cr2O3 plus 2Al giving Al2O3 plus 2Cr does not take place. Why? If the value for delta G is negative 421 kilojoules per mole.